What's up, everybody? Midget here today. K-Chan outside. She got booted. I'm still like not Twitter pated. That's not the right word, but Rutledge Wood dropped OK Garage on a podcast today.
What if the one I saw was like swapped?
Yeah.
Because there's a guy, OK Garage, who is so fun. And I was like, yeah, I'm looking for this thing. Gary's like, okay, well, I'll start digging. So he finds one, and then 2 days later found another one. He bought both of them at the auction. He's like, yeah, you come up and you just pick which one you like better. They're similar miles.
So it's a K. So it's a 660cc with a supercharger.
Yes. And
so instead of like 60 horsepower, it makes like 77.
It'll fly. And then OK OHKEI OK Garage has
That's
like
a good
they're
name.
making it's really good.
Very good name.
I feel like he's in Oregon maybe, but he's making little mini headers. He's got all sorts of parts for them. And I feel like a little bit bad.
Is this a header for Ents?
Hello? Yeah. I expect him to get in the building. So I've already ordered. I've got a set of JDM Volks sitting in my...
I don't want to go too far into it because I could talk about it for hours because I'm just like mind blown. But anyways, Rutledge Wood sent me a screenshot of him on a podcast, and he was dropping OK Garage, and I still can't even believe it. But anyways, I'll try to focus here. And if you don't know who Rutledge Wood is, look him up. He's hilarious, really cool commentator dude for all these car things, and just a great guy. He also seems really fun to hang out with, just like a big goofball. No offense if he watches this. But anyways, today we're going to be lowering Midget. So if these look familiar, these are the ones I actually just put in the white sandbar to test against the black Greddies. And still, this is like day 3, 4. They're still doing good. And actually, so I wanted to bring this up. So the black Greddies are a little stiffer than the white ones, and the white ones are soft. So you can kind of bottom out. Let's see, pretty sure I took me and my girlfriend, trying to remember where we went. Oh, we went to my parents' house for dinner, and we both were in there. So she's like 100 pounds or something, and I'm like 160, 170 or whatever. So I was about 270 up in the front, and we didn't bottom out once. So I'd say those white springs are pretty good for, not a whole ton of weight. And obviously you got to pay attention to where you're driving. Scott had a hard time seeing potholes and stuff. So they would bottom out and beat the truck up. But we went in there and I didn't bottom out once. It's really, really, really close, especially when you turn. I've actually rubbed with the tires, but those are 205s. 205 50 15. So if you went with like a 195 45 15, it would be a lot better fit. Those are 195 45 15. So the sidewall is like 2 inches, and those ones out there are like 2.5, maybe 3 inches. They're a lot taller than these. So you could always run a shorter sidewall to fit those springs if you want to run the white ones. But anyways, you do whatever makes you happy. But since I'm happy with those white ones, I ended up getting the wide zooms for the Midget. I'm not entirely sure what we're going to do with the back yet, since the back is leaf springs and Zoom does not make leaf springs. Zoom makes lowering leafs for the Honda Acti, so I'm going to end up getting those. But this one, we're kind of just going to have to, first of all, put the front lowering springs on, see what it looks like. Because, I mean, right now it's just unacceptable. I mean, I can get more in a fist in that thing. So we got to lower it. But the back, I think what we'll end up doing is either go with the stink bug look if we can't figure out the back. But we may take a leaf out, take a load spring out, take a middle leaf to get it to fit. We even thought about maybe flipping the axle on top of the leaf springs, but that's going to drop it, like, the width of the leaf. I mean, the width of the axle, which is like 3 or 4 inches, and that's just gonna probably be way too much. We'll probably sit squatted, California lift or Carolina squat, whatever, if we went that direction. So I think I might just take a load spring out and squish it down. Since we don't load this thing, it's not gonna be a big deal. And oh, it's gonna change the ride of your car. Well, yes, everything, when you start messing with suspension, it changes the feel of the car no matter what. But that's not the way we're doing this. Lowering springs are not for a better ride. It's for a better look. If you want a better ride, then you have to get coilovers, adjustable coilovers, so the dampeners are designed to go with the springs, because otherwise it's just gonna be bouncy. But I don't care, we just want it to look good. So let's get to it. I'm just gonna preface right now, I've never done this before. I know that the front strut is attached to the spindle, so the spindle and the strut are one assembly. So I don't know how in depth I want to get with removing the whole thing. I'm hoping I can just take the strut, lean it out, and then work on it on the car, because otherwise we got to take the whole front end apart, which I don't know, we'll see how that goes. So since I'm new to this and I've never done it before, we're gonna be learning together. So if you got a midget, you want a midget, or you're just interested in midgets, we're gonna lower one today. Okay, so obviously the first thing we're gonna do is jack it up, get the wheel off, and see how much trouble we're gonna get ourselves into for some lowering springs. Okay, so after doing further inspection, the strut mounts are behind this panel. So yeah, we're gonna have to do some removing of some panels, I think. I'm gonna just start taking stuff off and see, but I mean, this is not as easy as the sandbar was, where the bolts are just right there underneath the seat. So let's I'll get removing some parts and see if we can get to the upper strut mount. So I mean, this is a good video to watch if you need to change your struts, which these suckers are expensive. I looked them up, they're like $245 a piece. So try to keep these struts working. But yeah, let's take some stuff off and see if we can figure out how to get said struts out. There we go. There we go. Okay. Okay. There's your side marker light right there. Which mine is kind of different. It's like clear, which is cool. I'm not entirely sure. You could probably find a side marker from another vehicle of that same size. Probably generic. Let's see what we're working with here. Okay, so you have all this like trim. It gets sucked down in there. I'm pretty sure it was hitting up against this plastic piece. There, the window sill. So you pull that past the window seal. You got your 3 bolts here that take off the light housing. There's a bolt there. There's that bolt there. There's my janky wiring system. Okay, so here is our strut hat. Strut mount, strut hat. So we got 2 bolts. And that's what we're going to, now what is this wire going to? That's some, ooh, a vent. Oh, close it. What the heck was that for? Is it that? Oh, weird. Okay. Oh, I think that's like, I don't know what that thing does. I think that's what triggers my air conditioning unit though. So if your AC is not working, make sure this thing's flicking. Anyways, that's off. Hopefully that made sense, but you just gotta take your light off, unplug your lights, and that whole panel just pulls off. Be careful, don't scratch or bend anything. It's very thin, crazy how thin it is. So now, let us start taking the shock off. I hit everything in there with some penetration lube, Bricant, because it's pretty rusty. I don't really want to break anything, especially bolts to a probably an expensive top hat or strut mount. I think the strut mount was like 40. Actually, the strut mount was about 40 something bucks. Strut's the expensive part. Okay. That's a rust. Oh man, that bolt is hot. Hot and rusty. Just like my sandbar, hot and rusty. So, bolts have been removed, front and back. Thing's pretty rusty looking. If it's bad, I might just order new parts and wait, but can't really get full droop quite yet. So what I need to do is disconnect the sway bar from the lower control arm, and we need to push the clip out of this brake line so we can pull this off, so then we can hopefully get this thing to droop. Hopefully I don't have to undo the tie rod, because that'll be fun knocking that out. But let's do the sway bar and see if we can get some more droopage. Okay, so I'm going to disconnect the sway bar. Well, that's what I'm doing right now. Get this down and we can pull it out through the lower control arms, which will hopefully give it a little more droop. Okay, I got the mounts for the sway bar. There's 2 bolts on each side, down up front. So now I'm pulling it out of the control arm, out of the lowers, and basically it's just bushing that guy. Oh gosh. Oh wow. Yeah. The rumba should come out like that. Oh, heck yeah, man. Look at that. Okay, so. Oh, man, I'm so pumped. So we can, in fact, leave this on. You gotta be careful with the brake line, though. That guy's getting mucho stretchoed. So I'll figure that out. But this, in fact, can be done leaving this in the lower control arms. Thank goodness I didn't take anything else apart. You just have to disconnect the sway bar and really let it fall down. So, with that being said, I'm going to figure out how I can get this thing to stay so I don't stretch out my brake line in there and break it. But man, I'm stoked because I don't have to take a bunch of stuff off, just the sway bar. So let me figure out how to get this thing to hang, and then we'll start separating the shock. Okay, so I have a jack stand under there right now, but I think what I'm gonna do is I got 1 bolt on the top hat or strut hat, whatever, holding it up. I'll put my spring compressors on here right now while it's being held, and then once we get that all compressed, then I'll take it down, but at least it'll be held in here in place while I compress the springs. And then I gotta figure out how to hold the thing up. Hopefully this jack stand can do it. Okay, I got my spring compressors in there. And the spring compressors in here. And I need my air and my Uggy Duggy. My Uggy Duggy. Do the Uggy Duggy. I'm gonna put the not that. Where the heck did I put that? Dang it, here it is. Adapter. Okay. Let's do some compressing. Shiza. Okay, so I think I got it compressed enough in there. I took the cap off of the top, just this little white cap off the top of the shock. It's kind of tough, so I just took a little pry bar, tapped it with a hammer lightly, and it popped up. So now that I'm looking at the shock, so most the rods on the dampener or whatever have like an Allen so that you can hold the rod from spinning while you loosen the bolt. This one does not have a rod on it. I mean Allen, so I guess we're gonna, at least I don't think it does. And if it doesn't, I'm not sure how we're gonna hold that rod unless, yeah. I don't know. I guess we're gonna find out. Okay, well I didn't record it because I didn't think that was gonna work, but I got a 17 mil on my impact, and that 17 mil bolt came right off the top of the strut. So usually they have an Allen inside the rod to keep it from the rod from spinning, but I don't know, maybe this rod like is stationary so it doesn't turn. Not really sure. I've never dealt with a dampener that has a rod that doesn't usually spin when you try to loosen the nut on top, but it's definitely off on that thing. So now we're going to try to separate the thing. So let's see what happens. So let's see if we can get this out without breaking anything. Oh gosh, that's heavy. Okay, so here's our strut mount. Pretty rusty. Not in bad shape. Not in bad shape. I'll clean it up. Okay, our strut bearing with our strut cap or whatever. And here's our plastic sleeve. Let's get this on. Okay. And here's our shocky shock. Try to clean it up a little bit. Oh. Okay. So this rod is not perfectly round. It's got a flat spot. You can see the flat spot there. So that flat spot sits inside that strut hat, and that's what locks it in place from turning. Because I'm free spinning this thing. How's that hold? This shock, I don't know if the shock is blown, but it's pretty soft. So whatever. These things are 200 bucks, 250 bucks each, and shipping probably around 100 bucks. So these things would be very expensive to replace. I mean, they seem to be working. They're just not as stiff as I thought they would be. Okay, so let's put this back up before I rip. Here we go. Okay. All right, so I'm only going to show one side, but hopefully so far that's making sense. It's obviously going to be the same for the other side. But here's your strut hat or your strut mount. The rubber inside, it looks good. It's a little rusty, but that's okay. I wouldn't expect anything other than being rusty. I'll try to clean a lot of this stuff before I put it back on. And then our strut bearing, I'm guessing. Yeah, there's our strut bearing. Oh, there we go. So the strut bearing. Strut bearing feels good. I mean, it isn't broken. So we'll reuse it. A coil, and then here's our plastic sleeve, which this is good, so that's good. And then we'll release this back out, and then we'll put the white springs on. Okay, so let's compare spring sizes. So they're definitely shorter. Like an inch, maybe, shorter. And let's see. Yeah. I don't know. About the same. But this white one is definitely shorter. So we're going to get some drop in the front. So let's see. Maybe I don't even need to spring compress it. Let's find out. I'm going to do some cleaning and then we'll get it back. Okay, so doesn't quite work without using spring compressors. Hi, mi cielo.
Are you filming?
Yeah,
I love you, mi cielo.
I love you. So I'm gonna put the spring compressors on, compress it just a little bit, and then we should be able to get the threads to poke out to put the nut on the top. So now we'll take the thingies off, spring compressors off. So the lowering springs don't require a whole lot of compressing, just enough. I like these struts. These ones are easy. That rod that slips in the slot it doesn't require an Allen to do anything. I'll clean these things up a little bit. It's easy going. And now we're going to put these things back up. So I'm gonna have my strap mount bolts ready. We'll get this thing back up. Come on, baby. Could be a while. Well, that looks pretty trick in there. The old white zoom spring. Oh, don't forget, put your cap on. Keep water from getting in there and rusting in there and being stuck forever. So this side is done. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side. I'm not gonna film it because it's basically this side, taking it all off. I mean, the main thing you gotta be concerned about when taking these off is just removing the sway bar so you can get enough droop. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward, like any normal suspension, you know, compressing, unbolting things. Thank goodness we didn't have to take the whole strut out because, like I said, that's the whole entire assembly is the strut with the spindle and all that good stuff. So we'll do the other side. I'll put everything back together and then we'll show a comparison from when it was stock to now and see if it was worth all the trouble. Okay, it's now dark. Took a little bit longer than I expected, but that's okay. So before we could get a good fist in there, I just set it down and I can't get a fist in there, and I haven't even driven it yet. So I'll back it out, drive it back in, and we'll see how low we are. But we're definitely lower, which is sick. So we'll just see how low it gets. Obviously it's dark, so can't really show it on the outside. Can only show it sitting in the carport. But man, it's like perfect, like good. It's not like super low, and it doesn't look like it's lifted. It looks like it's supposed to be sitting like right there. It doesn't make the back look as high too, so maybe I won't even touch the back. Like I said, I'm gonna drive it around real quick, come back, and then we'll see where it's sitting at. But man, super stoked on that. Okay, so I just took it out for a little spin, and it felt super smooth. Let's see. Fat head out of the way. Yeah, it's kind of hard to. So it's a little bit lower. Maybe like an inch, like a good at least an inch at least, because I had about an inch less of coil anyways than the stock coil. I'm gonna put the two together. So anyways, I took it for a drive down the street and felt really good. And yeah, it's like perfect. It's not slammed or anything. I mean, it would be nice to get slammed, but it looks better than it did before, 100%. So I'll post some pics. I took some pictures in front of the Public Works building down the street in the light. Looks pretty cool. But yeah, that's how you remove. Let's see. That's how you remove the front struts and put lowering springs on, or do any kind of front end work, panel removal, blah blah blah. Kind of easy. Just got to figure out the right order of operations. But cool. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully that was informative, and I'll see you guys on the next one.